that means so much to you? Like going to a restaurant or hanging at the zoo? Clothes and sports and funny news, crafts and travel too. Nothing ever scripted, so expect the unexpected.
Hello,
Buenos dias. Aloha.
It's the Chatty Patty Walla Walla Talk Talk Show. It's the Chatty Patty Walla Walla Talk Talk Show. It's the Chatty Patty Walla Walla Talk Talk Show.
Hi, welcome to our show. It's Monday, October 8th. I'm Chatty Patty.
I'm Paula Walla.
And our special guest today is James Rigato from Mabel Gray. Welcome, James.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
a
coming.
yummy guest. He's a chef.
Mabel Gray in Hazel Park. Tell us a little bit about what it's like opening up a business in Hazel Park.
Well, honestly, it's that's a fantastic city to do business in, and I went to the city first. You know, my first idea was like, I want to open a business in Hazel Park. I'm going to go talk to the city and see if they support it. And really, that was the best thing I did. They were amazing. So, I mean, we bought the building in April and opened in September, which is which is a miracle if you consider how long it takes to open a restaurant. You know, not nowadays. It was, you know, half the time, if that. So the city, and I have to thank Hazel Park for that. They were really great. So opening a restaurant is hard, and I don't recommend it to the average person, but the fact that I had the city support went a long way. So, yeah. So.
Good. That's
I
great.
always hear all these chefs say opening a restaurant is hard, and I don't recommend. So why do you do it then? I mean,
well, I think that it's important to constantly be transparent about the perils of this industry. So, like, you know, the average restaurant, you know, never makes money, and most of them fail in the first 5 years. The profit margin at is, you know, 5%. You know, in most establishments, if you can hit 10 to 15, you're really killing it. You know, so it's tough profit margin. You know, really, you sacrifice a lot of quality of life. You know, it's nonstop work. I mean, Saturday was honestly one of the harder days I've had all year. Just with, you know, just one of those days, like, you know, cooler goes down, and, you know, just things that weren't lining up. And I mean, it was a 16-hour day that dumped anxiety. You know, if that happened in like the beginning, or if somebody who was a first-time restaurateur, it's one of those days that will talk you out of it. You know, so I think it's just important to be transparent, let people know that it's savage. And I think that for me, it's, you know, you have to love yourself as much as you hate yourself. And I think that those that find restaurants gratifying usually have that dilemma.
you must love to cook too.
No, of course. But the average restaurateur is not a chef. You know, I mean, the chef owners, there's plenty of them. But I think the majority of restaurants, you know, don't have a chef as the owner operator.
That's a lot of work. I can't even imagine.
It is, but Mabel's 43 seats, so it really is the sweet spot, in my opinion, for like size control. You know, because the route where I was at for 4 years was like 160 seats, and that was like, that'll kill you. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, that was too much.
So in 2013, you were on Bravo's Top Chef.
I was.
What was something that, you know, tell us what you took away from that.
You know, I learned a lot. You know, I think it's important to go out and kind of get the metrics of your abilities in your industry. And I think that going on a show with 15 other chefs from around the country, different ages, different backgrounds, different cities, you really see who you are and where you are. Like, I think it pushed me into another realm of cooking that I wouldn't have been able to get to without it. And I made a lot of great friends, and you know, I learned a lot about how TV works, you know, so it was an incredible learning experience, and I'm very glad I did it. I can say, like, I learned also that I don't love competition cooking. So, like, I really like celebrating others, and I think that by nature, like, the whole entertainment as competition as entertainment, I'm not even into sports, you know. I really like building up in collaboration, and I try to distance myself from competition. So, like, even for charities that are like, oh, do an Iron Chef, or do like a chopped battle, I'm like, I'm not interested in it. I think when chefs get together, we should be celebrating and praising. Our lives are already crazy and stressful enough. I think it's important to get together with like love and support and
that's beautiful.
Build people up.
I feel like that too, like with the Oscars and the Emmys and all that. Like, who's to say what is the best movie?
Yeah,
Who are you to say? Or you this group of people? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the whole you know, like I said, the awards, and you know, it definitely gets overwhelming and fatiguing. I never get tired of collaborating. You know, I never. Every day I love, you know, meeting new chefs, tasting new food. I get very tired of competing. You know, because like
it's not a competition.
Yeah,
it just isn't.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to ask one of my silly questions. I already know what it is, because I always ask this to people when I meet them. What's your death row meal?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, wow.
Mine, I'll just tell you, is a really great thin crust pizza with a variety of mushrooms on it, because I love mushrooms so much. A really good salad. It could be Caesar or whatever, and a good wine, and then a little piece of chocolate.
Your last meal.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, I once asked my good friend Madeline Trefan, who's a master sommelier, so a master of wine. I asked her, I was like, "What's your death row wine?" You know, like, and she said a Northern Rhone Syrah, and she would only smell it. And I was like, "That's poetry."
She wouldn't even drink it?
Yeah, she just would smell it. Like, and to me, like, I think that I want to say, like, you know, a perfectly shucked oyster, or, you know, but like it depends on where I'm in jail and what time of year it is.
Because a perfectly shucked
need to
oyster
know
is
what's
not
in
much.
season.
Yeah, 100%. Because like if I was in like, you know, if I was in like upstate New York in like the fall, I'd be like, you know, go get me a perfect, you know, apple. You know, because it's like...
Is it mushroom season? Or
Yeah,
is it morel season?
Correct. Or if, you know, if I'm in Brittany, then in France, I'm like, okay, give me like a bowl of mussels. You know, like...
You're a light eater.
No, I mean, well, also, I mean, like, you know, it's your death row meal, so you want to do something.
You gotta have a lot.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. See, do you want to dye stuff?
How about, I think I would want to eat so much that I went into a coma.
Yeah. Oh,
There you go.
Yeah, not bad.
Food coma.
Not bad. Yeah.
Now, are you guys doing a lot of pumpkin food at the restaurant in the fall? Do you think that's crazy? Because I go to Trader Joe's a lot, and like everything's pumpkin right now.
The pumpkin craze, for one, it's a spice, right? It's not actual pumpkin. The people, like, if you taste the pumpkin, you know, I love pumpkin, but like it's very wet, neutral, you know, kind of
smushy.
Smushy. Like, you know, it's a very tame vegetable, gourd. You know, I mean, so. People aren't going crazy over roasted pumpkin. They're going crazy over the allspice and the mace and the nutmeg and the cinnamon.
Oh, yes.
But there's pumpkin and pumpkin soup.
Yeah, of course. But like the things you're seeing, you know, at Trader Joe's, I mean, even pumpkin cookies, there's probably a touch of pumpkin and tons of the spice blend. So it's
true.
It's really, I mean, and it's just nostalgia. People just like, you know, it's fall, so they want to get, you know, they want to smell the smells of fall, which lead right into Christmas. And so I think, yes, I am doing. I have a pumpkin soup on the menu. Last week I did, and pumpkin creme brulee and stuff. But no, I definitely don't. I'm not Trader Joe's bandwagon kind of pumpkin guy.
Speaking of pumpkins, I love making pumpkin seeds. And one year, me and my daughter, we got all these seeds, and we just like seasoned them all differently. Have you ever done anything?
Oh, for sure. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, saving pumpkin seeds is definitely a fun task, especially for kids and stuff.
We tried curry ones. That didn't work out.
No?
I don't think we did it. We put too much curry. It was very like eating cinnamon out of a spoon.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
So you grew up in Howell,
Mm-hmm.
and what was it like growing up there? You were talking about, you know, at the time there weren't a lot of restaurants to choose from.
Oh,
but
for sure.
You did eat out a lot.
Yeah, so my parents are divorced, and my dad would take us on nights of the week to restaurants, and then he would, you know, had weekend custody too. So yeah, we ate out a lot. I mean, I basically, you know, my grandparents were great cooks. They were also members of a country club. So I kind of saw a lot of.
So we had a lot of chicken piccata.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, the club sandwich, chicken piccata, you know, yeah, perch. But yes, I mean, I really saw a lot of, you know, everything from like, you know, government cheese all the way to, you know, multi-course meals at country clubs. So I mean, I saw, you know, cruise boats. I mean, I definitely had a very diverse, you know, food upbringing, I guess you could say.
Well, there's a lot of farming out that way, right? So you were eating a lot of fresh produce.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely got, and I'd say like later in my early teens, I got more in tune with the seasonality, you know, like the apple orchards and, you know, the corn harvest and, you know, kind of like understanding farmers markets. I grew up, you know, once I was about 12, we moved downtown Howell, and there was a farmer's market across the street because we lived like right behind the courthouse. So like, you know, I'd go walk to the farmer's market, and you know, beekeepers and, you know, fruits, and you just, you know, Howell's,
you could really appreciate everybody's specialty.
And Howell's melon country. I don't know if people, we have a melon fest, so like we're known for our cantaloupes.
That's not boobs.
Yeah. I mean, I wish, you know, but no. But although, I mean, there's definitely like, you know, there's the melon queen, so that the whole boob pun has been around.
Oh, okay.
Has been around
The melon queen.
It's been around as long as the festival.
I wouldn't have won that.
I've actually played at the Howell Melon Festival.
Have you
It
really?
is pretty cool. Yeah.
But the I mean, honestly, the melons are fantastic. Like the cantaloupe is. I love a perfectly ripe cantaloupe, and a cantaloupe is actually, and it's related to the pumpkin. It's a gourd, right? A lot of people think like, you know, the cucumber, watermelon, they're all in the same family of the, you know, the viney ground, you know, fruit, essentially the gourds. So I love cantaloupe probably more than pumpkin, to be honest, because
like cantaloupe's pretty
oh
good.
my god, the majority of cantaloupe we eat is so, you know, it's from whatever thousands of miles away. It's underripe.
But when you get a good fresh local one,
my God.
have you ever had? I went to the Royal Oak Farmers Market, and he had really small ones.
There's all sorts. Yeah, there's so many different species and varieties of gourds, and a lot. The melons are just they're amazing.
Do you ever? Sometimes I like to put salt on my melon.
Sure.
You ever heard of that?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And lime juice on your honeydew.
Yeah, we do like a compressed watermelon salad where kind of like you put it in a vacuum bag and you compress it and it kind of like collapses it kind of tightens the structure, basically collapses the little cells and makes it more dense. Tastes like more like makes a melon taste more like a melon. I guess if that makes sense. And then
brings out flavors.
Yeah, and we'll do like lime zest and salt and for sure.
I'm gonna take notes. Here's a fun fact I learned when I went to the Royal Oak Farmers Market. They had a melon called a Sprite melon.
Oh yeah.
And the farmer told me he's not allowed to grow those anymore. Someone actually can copyright or trademark those seeds.
The seeds?
And no one else can grow them.
Oh, I mean that's
Did you know that?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
There's a very the world of seeds is very controversial, especially right now. I mean, if you look like Monsanto and soybeans, and the farmers can't even save their own seeds. I mean, we're in a pretty treacherous
I bet
territory.
they do secretly. They have a stash.
I mean, you can literally get you can go to jail. You can get arrested. I mean, it's like property. It's like stealing property. So I mean, there's tons of controversies. You can look it up. Like
That's such a shame.
it is.
I know.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, who's
there-
busting these people?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
The
more
melon police.
There's a lot more money in Monsanto's hands than there are in small farmers. It's crazy.
Do you grow any of your own stuff?
I mean, we have for sure, but no. I mean, I just I'm too busy, and now I live in Hazel Park and run 2 businesses. There's not really a ton of space for it.
Yeah.
So you've won some awards. For instance, the People's Best New Chef Award in 2015,
Yep, that's from Food and Wine. Yeah,
or Rust Belt Rising Star in 2016.
that's fun.
What else?
yeah,
I mean,
that's awesome.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, awards they're wonderful, and it's nice to have a benchmark. And it's I guess
You're
like,
too humble for that.
No, but it's proof that you're on the right track. So I mean, it's good. It's definitely it's good for the staff. Customers can kind of like it helps people understand that what you're doing. So I guess when you say an award-winning restaurant, okay, that means they're taking things seriously. So maybe there's a little less pushback with price, or if it's harder to get in.
Yes, it's hard to get in.
Yeah, so people can people understand it a little bit better. I think when you're new and you're not, you Google and nothing comes up, people are like, they're less likely to take a chance or spend, because they're nervous.
Yeah.
I think that awards definitely legitimize you, in the eyes of the public. So that definitely helps. So I feel blessed.
What's the chef? The camaraderie between all the chefs in Detroit. Are you friendly with each other? Do you all know each other and welcome new people from out of town? Or
yes, yeah. I mean, yes to most of those. When I was coming up in kitchens, there wasn't a lot of camaraderie amongst business owners. So like the guys that were like Matt Prentice and like Luciano weren't like hanging out drinking beers. Luciano Del Signore from Bacco and Bigalora. So I definitely wanted to change that. And I did a dinner in Chicago years ago. Paul Verant, a very successful badass chef. Bad A chef.
Big time.
Yeah, big time chef invited me out there to do a guest chef dinner, and I was way over my head with like the amount of talent in the room. I was by far the youngest and the least known guy, and it just blew my mind that he welcomed me in. We met at an event, and then he extended the offer, and I went out to Chicago and did this dinner. And I came back, and I was like, I have to do something like that here. So I started the Young Guns dinner series we did for a full year, where I reached out to chefs that some I knew, some I didn't know at all, and did collaboration dinners. Traveled, every dinner we would go to a different restaurant, and I would bring in different chefs. Some eventually from around the country, but the first few were just locally, in the area, and some of them. Some of these chefs met at the dinner and are like still friends and doing collaborations
That's
today.
awesome.
so the Young Guns were in their early 20s. Were they?
Yeah, I think it was like most of us were like in our 20s. A couple were like were in early 30s. But it was basically either like first time executive chefs, or like I think Andy Holliday was one, and he Selden was his first business venture on his own. So it was basically like not like non super known guys and girls that were kind of like in our earlier stages of our career, and that were maybe a little less known because we were new. So I really wanted to kind of stir that pot and get everyone talking, and get everyone
That's
meeting.
great for our city.
It was great, yeah. And that people still talk about those dinners, and I think really my big takeaway is that I think people kind of look to me now to say like who, what's next, like who like at Mabel Gray we've hosted so many guest chefs, and people like they kind of look to that to say like who's opening up the next restaurant or who's doing something cool we don't know about. People they lean into it. They want to know more. They want to meet chefs. They want to hear about it. They want to see us cooking together. So I think that was a culture that I got inspired by from Chicago and Paul Verant, and then I turned around and offered it here, and I see it kind of like, the trickle down is real. So yeah, there's a lot of us that are friends. Some chefs come in from out of town and maybe don't understand the Detroit market, or they don't. This is a very humble DIY blue collar town, as we all know. So we definitely want to see people, that care and do it right, and definitely get their hands dirty and show respect to each other. And some, not all, do. So I think that no, we're not just blindly supportive to any chef that walks in the room, but most chefs that get it, they love Detroit.
So when you have a guest chef come in, do they give you like a list of what they want, or?
Well, every guest chef is a little bit different, and I usually know what they can handle and can't handle. So some of them need full-time support. Some I give the key to the building and I go on vacation.
No, I'm talking a list of I need onions and potatoes.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So some need some need me there prepping their food before they get there.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, and some,
I need that.
Yeah, yeah, and then some, like I said, I just give the keys to, and they just do everything themselves.
Oh, so they might bring some of their own ingredients?
Oh yeah, for sure. Some bring everything.
Oh, okay.
So there's no two dinners, no two chefs are the same. It's as diverse as I'm sure the world of music is.
Well, if you ever have a common housewife take over, I'll give you my number.
Yeah, the two of you.
Wow, that'd be great. We both love to cook.
Yeah.
What are some foods that you don't like and you try to stick away from?
Well, commercial mayonnaise, I find it, appalling. I definitely don't enjoy commercial mayonnaise at all.
Even Hellmann's?
Especially Hellmann's.
I used to date a guy who would eat spoonfuls of mayonnaise.
Oh.
That was gross.
That I feel like that makes me want.
That's upsets you.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry. I upset you.
No, and then canned tuna. I just really it's cat food to me. So the idea of eating it reminds me of eating cat food. It's just
I like it.
Yeah, no,
I like it in oil.
Yes.
Oh, you like it?
I like it in vegetable oil.
Some people, mix commercial mayonnaise and canned tuna and eat it on sandwiches, and that to me is
God, I would never do that.
It's my own living hell.
I like canned tuna and mac and cheese mixed.
I've had that. Okay, let's move on. We're upsetting our guest.
I know. Let me see. Oh, I brought a surprise spice to show you.
Uh-oh.
I like it.
Is this bath salts?
I don't know if we can even show it.
Oh, okay. No, we can't.
We can't show
Special
it. Special
stuff.
SH blank.
Special.
Okay, so where'd you buy that, and what is so special about it?
You can look at it later. It's just, I use it on everything. It's just a good blend of
Where'd
stuff.
you get
It's
it?
got paprika.
Did you get it at Penzies?
I got it at a little shop in Manistee where I'm going this weekend, and they have a whole line of things.
You haven't used much of it.
That's a brand new one.
Okay.
I used a whole one. I like it. But anyway, I just
What are some upcoming trends in food that we need to wrap our heads around?
Bubble tea.
Well, vegan food is absolutely, it's climbing in the, it's 1,000% up from this time, years ago.
Oh my gosh,
every year
it's getting better and better.
It's getting more and more popular. People are definitely gravitating towards plant-based. It's better for the environment. It's better for your body. Mabel Gray was vegan the whole month of August. We did only vegan tasting menus. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, veganism you're going to see taking off. But there's so many, there's so many trends that I think are quick to kind of come and go. Obviously, I think gluten free is kind of I think gluten free is a hoax. I often say if you tell me you're gluten free, then you're a liar, and then if you say you're celiac, that means your doctor's a liar. And and I'm not trying to get controversial here, but we're probably already down that path. But if you go to other countries like Vietnam, Italy, they don't. There's no gluten free. There's no such thing.
Is it the chemicals in the food?
I think it's absolutely food production. I think that it's gluten is nutritionally
processed.
The processed flours are nutritionally devoid. They're essentially they're dead. They went rancid and then they died after that because when you mill flour, you're breaking up the shell and everything mixes and you have protein and you have fat and and it basically goes rancid and then it has a fallout and it just becomes empty, nutritionless structure. So basically, you're just blending in, cake and donuts. You're suspending fat, sugar, other things in a form that can actually, you can eat.
A vessel.
A vessel. So it's a nutritionally devoid vessel. So be careful with eating a lot of processed grains. I think everybody needs to eat less of that. But to say you're gluten free and then to say no, I won't have this beautiful. I won't have a farro or I won't eat this organic whole wheat. I think that's bananas because your body, can break down food, but like when you start getting weird, nutritionally devoid, dead processed foods, like it's hard on anybody's body.
Right.
And usually when you eat gluten, you need more water because your body's working harder to break it down because
to digest.
Right. So like, are you drinking enough water? What's your,
Are you washing down those chemicals with beer?
Yeah. It's like, I see somebody who's like, oh, I'm gluten free, but then, then it's like you're eating, whatever, a 18-ounce steak and, a cocktail. Like, I'm like,
oh, that's not necessarily healthier.
Right. So I think gluten free is a very dangerous category because you're convincing people that if you avoid gluten, you'll be better. And that's not the case. Gluten's not the problem. It's
the process.
It's the processed ingredients and the flour that we source. Because I'm telling you, you go to Italy or you go to Vietnam or you go to any of those, Ireland, you go to any of these countries, they don't even have like a translation for it.
They don't even know what that word
is. It doesn't
is.
make sense. So like you can't, and even like our peanut allergies, it's not nearly as high in any other country. So we, much like our soybean farmers I'm talking about, we've stirred the pot. We've made our food system pretty messed up. So and you're seeing it in all of these allergies.
They're forcing it on us.
My daughter once did a science fair project on bread. She took really fresh bread that bought at a good bakery and then a McDonald's bun.
Oh, yeah.
That bun never molded.
I know. It
never
the fresh
will.
bread molded in 3 days.
It never will.
It never did.
It never will. It's meant to stay. That's
so bad for you.
But it's essentially it's safe because it'll never spoil and you can't eat mold. And then essentially you would have a lawsuit or something. So if you make your food so bulletproof that it'll never go bad.
I understand the original intention, but it's gone too far. It's out of control.
Absolutely. But I think there's a danger in food trends when you start thinking that you've solved the problem by eliminating one thing, and then it just kind of gives you blind confidence to going down even scarier, paths.
Well, let's talk about drinks. I would imagine you serve cocktails at Mabel Gray, right?
Of course, yeah. We have a great bartender, Paul Fradnick. He's a very talented guy. We're kind of heavy in the bourbons. I'd say like most of our back shelf is brown. It's mostly
local distiller
liquor.
Bourbon, true bourbon has to be from Bourbon County.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely support Valentine and Two James and Michigan has some pretty cool beverage products.
When I came to that chef takeover from the Southerner guy,
Matt Millar.
It was a bourbon cocktail, and like how margaritas have salt around, it had pepper.
Oh, I love
It
pepper.
was it was
I
really
think pepper is my
good.
favorite spice.
Oh yeah,
I love pepper.
I like pepper.
Yeah, because when I was a little girl, my grandma used to collect salt and pepper shakers, and we used to always try and make each other sneeze.
So you're like snorting them?
Kind of.
Jeez.
That's awesome. Have you ever seen a peppercorn tree?
No.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Where do they grow?
I think all over, kind of like equator, like kind of around the equator. I think is where you see most
where
of them.
coffee is.
Yeah, but precisely. But it's a really big tree and these huge clusters. We were in Mexico and I was like standing under one and I was like, is that peppercorn? And
What are your favorite
it's so much.
Or spices?
Spices? Well, that's a good one.
You probably got a lot.
I I think smoked paprika is definitely it has a lot of diversity, and I think it's paprika really. I think when you're a kid, you're almost like, what is this useless spice? But as you get older, it's.
What was that?
I don't know.
Someone's chiming in.
But anyway.
That was like a ghost.
Well, speaking of chiming in, I did throw out on our Facebook page if anyone had a question, and Mike Rapinski had a question. Is there a chef/meal that you haven't tried that you would like to try?
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! Internationally, there's so many places I want to go. Spain. I think I definitely need to spend some time in cider country in Spain, like Asturias and San Sebastian. I want to get to Spain.
I do too.
Yeah.
Sooner than later.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
But Noma in Copenhagen is kind of like probably the most important restaurant in the world right now. So I'd like to go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure. But it depends on what your values are and what.
Okay.
But in America, Vespertine is a restaurant I just ate at last year. It's in LA. It's really next level. If you're into food, it's like if Jim Henson made The Dark Crystal, but about restaurants. It's like an evil, kind of like crazy, space-like, wild restaurant.
Is it like the molecular stuff?
Yeah, molecular is kind of it's become like a swear word. It's almost like saying hipster nowadays, So
it's bad amongst the food world.
It's just like everything's molecular, Like if you think about it, so it's kind of just like it's a sillier. It's like saying foodie. It's just like we all eat, it's just the molecular community is kind of pushed back on the term because it also pigeonholes the next wherever you're going next, because like molecular is a little time in the culinary span, and so like I think what some restaurants are doing now is There's not even a word for it yet. Like Vespertine is very like they're like the Mars rover. They're really exploring some deep realms of food and service and experience.
So it's in LA?
It's in LA. It's in Culver City, and I mean, they'll give you like a vessel where you can't even see what's inside of it, and you got to kind of like eat, and it's kind of like you can't even see what you're eating, but like it's so stimulating to every sense.
Wow.
What about all those weird things they do in New York City, like naked eating or dining in the dark or something like that?
Those are. I mean, I'm definitely not.
That's scary to me. Dining in the dark. No,
that's like
I don't want to go there.
That's a fad. That's definitely silly.
Let me see what other questions
I keep bringing.
But some people like it. It all depends on what you like. To me, live and let live. If you think that's cool, then do it all the time.
What's the easiest thing that someone could make at home that's super awesome and healthy, like people don't even realize?
Wow.
Like a spaghetti sauce, like a fresh. What's the fresh sauce? Well, I can't even think of the name.
Well, I mean, I think that honestly, cooking in general at home is non-existent almost. I mean, most people just aren't cooking at home. But I think utilizing products. I mean, like greens and carrot tops, and there's also food waste is obviously a huge problem. So I think utilizing is. I know you want probably something more specific than that. I mean, like
that's okay.
Pesto. I mean, that's one that's like you can make pesto out of anything. Any cheese, any nut or seed, and any green can make you pesto.
I do. I love to just have no food in the house and then make something out of nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
I do too. Do you even look at recipes, or you just make stuff up?
Well, I think for pastries or for some charcuterie items, like recipe is definitely wise. I think ratio is really the magic word. Ratios are valuable, right? Like, a brine only wants so much, salt. A pastry needs a certain amount of fat to shorten the, like you need, science in food. So ratios are definitely, valuable. But yeah, straight up recipe. Like if it says cardamom and I don't want cardamom, no,
Or you don't have it.
Yeah, just move on. Like, to me, like I definitely I look at a recipe different than the average person.
Do you like to bake?
Yeah, for sure. I think that any chef worth their weight should be able to throw down some pastries for sure.
Got to have dessert.
It's true.
So what are the specials on the menu at Mabel Gray today?
Well, today we're closed.
I was thinking that. I wasn't for sure.
That's why
Okay,
he was able to
tomorrow.
come on today.
Well, we change the menu every day. So we, my girlfriend hand writes it. She's my sous chef. She's the real powerhouse behind the restaurant. So we change the menu every day. Tomorrow, I mean, like honestly, like
you don't even know.
I can probably, I write Tuesday's menu on Saturday usually, so I can order and get everything in line. But I pretty much am writing the next day's menu throughout the day. So like I'm kind of crossing things off, texting my purveyors, finding out what's going on. Someone will reach out and be like, "Oh, I got these plums. Okay, well, let's incorporate plums." I went up to Clarkston and get 10 frames of whole honeycomb, and then we'll use that for a little while.
Okay, so here's something that's in season right now, and I need an idea. Figs.
Oh,
I love figs.
Yeah.
I know. Well, you can wrap them in bacon.
Yeah.
What else?
With blue cheese.
You can wrap anything in bacon.
I know.
You can wrap this like jar in bacon.
You can wrap my hand in bacon. Yeah.
I think for figs, I definitely like them in the sweeter preparations. So like I think
Cake.
like a lightly baked, like a warmed fig with like a drizzle of honey, like and a little bit of mascarpone, like that to me is dessert.
That sounds so good.
Thank you, James Rigato from Mabel Gray in Hazel Park. We had a blast today. Thank you for being on our show, and thank you for watching another episode of the Chatty Patty
Pala Walla
Talk Show.
Hello. It's the Chatty Patty Pala Walla Talk Show. Hello. It's the Chatty Patty Pala Walla Talk Show.
We will talk about the things that mean so much to you, like going to a restaurant or hanging at the zoo, clothes and sports and funny news, crafts and travel too. Nothing ever scripted, so expect the unexpected.
Hello.
Aloha.
It's the Chatty Patty Pala Walla Talk Show. It's the Chatty Patty